Joining us now is John, and we're going to be talking about his fabulous career at Rhino Chiropractic. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Donna. It's a pleasure to be here.
So we got a chance to have a beautiful conversation. I was driving out to the Hamptons. We had a wonderful visit. And what I said to you that I thought my audience would find most fascinating is why you decided to do chiropractic. So could you please tell your personal story? Because it's
absolutely
spellbounding. So what happened? There was a woman.
Yes.
And
this woman was pulling a big heavy bag through Europe, felt a pop in her low back. She couldn't get her cycle. Her menstrual cycles were all out of whack. And she came back to the United States, went to a bunch of doctors. They wanted to give her medications. And her sister knew a chiropractor, went to the chiropractor. Within a few adjustments, she actually got her cycle back. A year later, the chiropractor was the godfather of the daughter.
Beautiful.
Son was born quite a few years later, though,
yes.
and he was kind of sick. He had a lot of issues going on health-wise, a lot of tubes in his ears, adenoids, tonsils taken out, a lot of medications, and a lot of issues developing with asthma and not being able to do sports and athletics as much as he wants. And then at one point, that young boy was in the martial arts, and a fellow black belt gave him an adjustment, and he said, "Hey, I want to do this." And years later, now I get to do that. So
because you were that boy.
I was that little guy.
You were that little guy. So first, it helped your mother have both your sister and yourself, right? And then you had a lot of health problems growing up. Then you were doing martial arts. And then all of a sudden, this person, you were able to breathe better. And you realized that might be what you want to do in life.
Yeah, there's so many different chiropractors out there in different ways and approaches. And I just found my passion leaning towards helping people with what I call the neuro-organic connection.
Okay.
Meaning the nerves being the neuro and the organic meaning the organs of the body connect through the nerves through the spine. And when those get disconnected or misaligned, they can miscommunicate those messages to those organs, and therefore those organs don't function at ideal capacity. So besides, of course, dealing with the low back pains, headaches, neck pains, all the different type of musculoskeletal conditions we see in the office, now the passion that I have is to be able to see people who might have allergies or asthma or little kids with issues that I had as a kid. So now I get to help them avoid a lot of the, the unwanted, medications perhaps, or maybe deal with things a little more holistically.
Now, speaking of holistically, you actually run a wellness center. So you're not like a one and done.
Yes.
That you come in and you kind of do an intake for all of that person's needs, and then kind of have the modalities in order for them to move towards wellness.
Absolutely, absolutely. What we try to do is create a high-tech experience in the sense where we objectively evaluate those misalignments rather than just talk about them and say, "Doc, it hurts here," and then we push on it and it feels better. And that's what a lot of times people experience. We like to try to be objective by doing x-rays and analysis with computerized scans and postural analysis. And then from there, we reevaluate those evaluations down the road to see how well the patient's improved. So it's not guesswork. It's actually done very objectively and scientifically with a lot of high touch and connection as well.
Now, were you talking, it's like a 12-week cycle? Is that what you say?
It's a customized plan for each individual.
Okay.
Time frames typically to get structural changes before we take a new x-ray is usually about 12 weeks because ligaments and tendons take time. They've been that way many, many years. Some arthritic, some many challenges, but we get the pre and post x-rays to show the structural changes. I call it the biostructural connection, where we can correct the spine as a result of a pre and post x-ray through structural adjustments and some exercises and some home care as well.
When you have a problem with your spine, we were talking about this too, it's called a subluxation, right? Because the jelly that's in between the spine gets kind of whooshed right out.
Exactly.
Or it gets twisted,
yes.
Right? And so it sometimes isn't the bone itself, but it's space in between that you work with.
Right, absolutely. So the disc herniations that many people suffer with that cause either numbness and tingling down the fingers or the sciatica down the leg, oftentimes they'll do epidurals to mask the symptom, or they'll do physical therapy, or they'll take medications, and a lot of those have side effects. Physical therapy works with the muscles, but we try to correct the structure so the muscles can relax and actually align. So we have things like decompression, we do cold laser therapy, and other ways that holistically heal disc herniations rather than just throwing a Band-Aid on it.
You're like a fix-it guy.
I try to be.
All right.
But the body heals itself. It's amazing. But, we try to just support the body's ability to heal. We don't treat or cure asthma, or, just to clarify, we don't treat those conditions. But by removing the interference, which is those kinks in the hoses, those misalignments, as those subluxations, as you mentioned, then a body has the ability to heal itself without that interference.
Sometimes infants are born with subluxations because by the time they're coming through the birth canal or by the time they're, cesarean section, right? You're
Very good
getting
point,
right
yeah.
in here in the neck.
The
I
top
heard that
part of the neck.
the top part of the neck, that babies a lot of times, and if they could just get adjusted early on, right? Like
That's
if
our
this could be
passion.
part of your, right. If we could get society to really believe that this could help for the longevity of your whole entire spine. It
Yeah.
seems like so common sense to me. Like once I learned that from you and once we were talking, I'm like, well, that's common sense.
We brush
right?
our teeth from the time we have teeth.
Right.
Our spine we have from the time we're born. Unfortunately, that upper part of the neck, fortunately, it controls every organ, cell, and tissue in the body. But just a disconnection from birth, my little nieces were in the NICU, and I adjusted them while they were in the NICU, and you could watch the O2 monitor actually rise.
Really?
They were able to get out earlier as a result. So I got to get experience the miracles on a regular basis. My children have been adjusted since they're born. We want to turn people on to the idea of spinal hygiene, not just dental hygiene.
Spinal hygiene. I love that. Just Rhino's the only name you need to know, right? John, thank you very much for being our guest. We truly appreciate that. Thank you for letting me shine a light on your own personal journey, and why you do what you do, and the fact that you have all of the right, materials, the people, and the processes to really help people.
Thank you so much, Donna.
It was a
It's been an absolute pleasure.
And
Thank
it
you
was
so
fun
much.
too to talk to you on the phone. So
yes.
if you have any questions whatsoever, please call their practice, make an appointment, or if you want just some great advice, reach out to them or go to their website. Thank you for watching.